Chris here with Barnyard Outdoors. Let's take a look at the Boundless Voyage titanium alcohol stove. Alright, if some of you people know me, you know that I like stoves. I have a lot of different camp stoves, and I use them for different reasons, different times of the year. Different stoves make more sense depending on what I'm actually doing out in the woods. Today we're going to talk about alcohol stoves and something new. This is the Boundless Voyage titanium alcohol stove. It comes in a little box with this nice little kind of mesh stuff sack. That's kind of a nice little add-on that they throw in there. And here it is. It's small, it's lightweight. It comes with this little snuffer to put the thing out when it's going. And as you can see here, it's got a lot of jets on it. So if you're not familiar with alcohol stoves, you put in denatured alcohol. Here in the United States, we use heat, and you light it up, and then it blooms, and it's a little stove. You can put it inside of something. It's generally what I find these little titanium stoves are good for is heating up and boiling water. Doesn't usually take a lot of fuel, and they're pretty efficient. I mean, they're not as quick as using something like a jet boil or a fire maple stove or even an MSR gas stove, anything that's a isobutane. Those are going to be really fast. You go with something like this because you want something light. What intrigued me about this stove is I'm a huge fan of the Trangia type stoves, and I have one right here. This one's actually made by Esbit, and it's been a great little stove, and I'm sure you're kind of familiar with these. They've got the snuffer that is also a simmer ring, and then of course you've got the stove burner itself, which is, you know, pretty simple design, and then it comes with this little lid with you can screw on. And some people will store fuel in it. I will if I'm out camping and I'm actually sitting somewhere. I'll put the lid on it and seal it up to keep the fuel in there. But this is not something that I throw in my backpack. I've seen these seals break before or give out, and then you end up with fuel everywhere, and nobody wants that in their backpack. So for years, my go-to titanium alcohol stove has been this. This is the Evernew titanium stove. This thing is great. The disadvantage that I have found with this compared to the Trangia is just the design, right? It's similar in the design, but it's missing one important thing. And that important thing is this lip. This lip is something that comes in handy whenever you're mounting this burner into stoves. A lot of them are designed for this. This is like the gold standard, you know, gold. Actually, it's brass, but see what I did there? This is kind of the gold standard when it comes to alcohol stoves, and it works great. Been very happy with it. So one of the big differences between a Trangia type stove and a titanium stove is the weight, right? Not really a big deal to me. I know some friends that are doing the ultralight backpacking thing. That's where that weight difference would come into play. More important for them, less important for me. I got this stove because I wanted something with a lot of output, right? A lot of holes in it, a lot of flame comes out. It's like a little rocket, right? So let's go back to the Boundless Voyage. So the Boundless Voyage has numerous exhaust ports on it, which is great. I'm expecting this to perform well. But the one thing I really like about it is it's got that lip, right? And if you look at it next to the Trangia, they are almost the same dimensions. Actually, I think this little Esbit one is just maybe a little taller. It's definitely taller on where the burners are, but the size, the diameter of these is the same, or roughly the same. So this is the Firebox Nano folding stove, and I've got the crossbars in it, and these crossbars are designed perfectly to hold a Trangia stove. If I were to take my other titanium stove, the Evernew, you'll see that just falls right through. There's no easy way to mount it at the correct height. But with the Boundless Voyage, look at that lip around there makes all the difference in the world. it fits perfectly down in there. Now there's some wobble, right? I mean, you're not going to pick this thing up and move it when it's burning, but it does fit perfectly in there. And then of course you can use the little snuffer to just put that out. So I like this stove, and we're going to test this stove out. I'm not going to test it down here because it would be really stupid to test it in the basement of the house. So I'm going to take it upstairs. I'll do it in the kitchen where it's a little more controlled environment. And before I do any testing on this, one thing to remember is any type of burned and timed boil test with any stove, whether it's this one, the Evernew, or the Trangia, there's a lot of variables that come into play. You have the temperature, right? Not just the temperature of the environment, the temperature of the water, the temperature of your stove, the temperature of your fuel. All those things can make a difference in the amount of time it takes something to boil. The type of material your pot is, whether it's stainless steel or titanium, the temperature of the water, the amount of water, and then other environmental things. I mean, the altitude can play into how these things burn, and then of course also wind. Today it is super windy outside. I don't even think I could keep a stove lit outside right now. It's so windy. So that's why we're going to test this inside. Let's go upstairs. Let's get this thing filled up with some fuel, and let's get it going. All right, so I got this set up upstairs. I have 1 cup of tap water, room temperature. My current temperature indoors is 69 degrees, and like I said, I just use heat, right? So I'm going to put some fuel in here. I'm not going to measure how much. I'm going to try to time how long it takes for the stove to bloom, and then I'll also time how long it takes to boil 1 cup of water, and I'll just put that in my trusty Toaks 750 titanium pot. Trying to get this to start the timer and get this lit at the same time is going to be a little challenging, but I do have my easy reach lighter here to make sure that works. Alright, based on that, we'll probably want to cut about 3 seconds off the bloom time. All right, so we're looking at about maybe around a minute, give or take a few seconds before the stove has bloomed and is operating fully. So now let's get some water on there. And here we go. All right, here we are. 3 minutes, 10 seconds. And it is obviously boiling here. Nice, that's not bad at all. So that took about 3 minutes and 10 seconds, which is not bad. Now, remember all the variables I mentioned earlier. This is not super scientific, and I'm not sure how much fuel it used. Just looking at it, it doesn't look like it used that much. Maybe a third, maybe about half the fuel I put in there. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I didn't measure any of this stuff out other than the water and verifying temperature and things like that. But so far, I'm actually pretty impressed with this. I will try the snuffer. I'm sure the snuffer works fine. Perfect. I'm very impressed with this so far. I'm going to take it out with me and start using it here as we get into spring and summer, which is where I'll use an alcohol stove more. And It's nice. It's lightweight. The only drawback is all you have is a snuffer. There is no simmer ring for it. I think maybe somebody who is good at that type of thing could maybe make a simmer ring for this. It's a great little alcohol burner. I'm really impressed with it. If you have any questions about this or any of the other stoves that I've mentioned, please feel free to leave me a comment below. And remember to like this video. That really helps out the channel. And subscribe if you like seeing this type of content. See you in the next video, everyone.